This hole is going to be for a number 4 screw, number 4 nut plate. Well, I've got this jig that guy gave me that I bought some nut plates from, and it's set up with a center pin here that fits in the screw hole, and then it has a drill guide here to drill your first hole, and then this pin here is the size of, it's a number 40, the size of the drill, and you turn it over then, and then you can stick it in the hole, and then you guide drill the second hole, or the third hole, the hole for the second rivet. So we turn this around with just this one flat pin where it sticks out that sits in the screw hole, and you put it in the screw hole and line the jig up, and then put number 40 drill bit and drill the hole. And that then they've got, this is for the center screw, the screw hole, and this is the size of the 40 drill bit that fits in that rivet hole we just drilled, and then you get the holes lined up here for the second rivet. So there's one drilled. This next hole screw is going to be right next to this diagonal bar that goes up, tube that goes up, and I can't get the nut plate on it from the outside like I did the other one, so I've got to contort myself and do that from the other side, from the inside, and drill out. Okay. One hole. Two holes. So we have perfectly lined up holes for that nut plate there now. Now I've done these nut plates before by just taking drilling the screw hole, screwing the nut plate on with a screw, and then back drilling out the holes through the nut plate to get the rivet holes set, but through the rivet holes in the nut plate, just using the nut plate for a guide. But this works a lot nicer, a lot easier, it's a lot quicker. That number 4 nut plate jig here, guy that I bought nut plates from sent me this, and it's obviously been used. They cut off the end of it, and it's been used quite a bit, but it works fine. I think that this pilot hole is starting to get hogged out a little bit, but it still works fine. So, but I bought some number 6 ones, and they turned out there for miniatures or small, and I don't have miniature. I've got the miniature number 4s, but I don't have miniature number 6s. I've got regular number 6s and number 8s and number 10s, and the hole pattern on all of them are the same. I had it written down what they were, but I don't recall offhand what it is, but the hole patterns are the same. So I wound up buying a couple of new ones, and these are relatively inexpensive online. I forget where I bought them for, but these were the cheap ones of that the company had. They had more expensive ones too, but there's 2 number 6s. I thought I was getting a number 4, or I thought I was getting a number 6 and a number 8, but I wound up getting 2 number 6s. But this one is for the regular nut plates. This one will work on regular nut plates, but it also has another drill guide right here, so it'll do these offset nut plates. They have just one wing, So and I've got and that's going to come in handy because I've got to use that for. How come I measured those the other day and they worked? Oh, maybe they only work on 10s. It worked the other day, but it doesn't work now. It doesn't work on the 10 either. So where the hell did I get that idea that it worked on the? Well, crap. That ain't good. This one is the one I've been using most of the time, and it works pretty good. It's small, nice and handy to use. It's got the handle on it is still long and it's flex, so you can put it in there and bend it and put pressure against it. But this pin is loose and it started sliding out, so I think it should be swedged in there. I'm going to put a little. I just cleaned that up with some lacquer thinner. I don't have any alcohol here, but I'm going to go ahead and clean that up and then put some thread lock on it, see if it'll hold it in there. Well, I drilled the holes out for the nut plates, and that thread lock compound worked fine on that pin for that guide, the main pin. If it hadn't worked, I'd had to take it down to the shop, put it in a vise, and stake the hole using a prick punch or something like that, just to stake around that. But the thread lock glue worked for now. I've got all of these holes drilled out to the right size, and I've got the rivet holes drilled out, and I've got them all deburred. I need to countersink these holes for the rivet heads, and then I can paint them. Now this end one here, because of the proximity of these clusters, this diagonal brace couldn't get in there with a standard nut plate. So what I've done here is I put a nut plate in there held in with a screw from the back side, and I've got it tightened down. Now I'll take a number 40 drill bit and drill these two holes out in this nut plate, and then I'll be able to put these nut plates on from the bottom side, but I'll have the holes located for it. So that's kind of a cheap hole finder or jig for those nut plates. All the holes here have been drilled and deburred and all to the right size, and we've got these here on the side panel are going to go with number 4 nut plates, and in this bottom panel are going to be number 8 nut plates, but they all use the same size of rivet, and these are number 3 flathead rivet. It doesn't need a whole lot of countersinking, just enough to make the head flush. Now I've got 5 of these tabs that need to be drilled out for 3/32 for those number 6 nutzerts. Now we'll deburr those holes. Oh, I've just taken a can of Exo Rust, and the new stuff is a combination primer of paint, and this happens to be hammer tone. Doesn't really matter, as it's well, it's black and it matches this a little bit, but this is all going to be covered up. Oh, I'm just taking that and covering up all these raw holes. Yeah, time to put these nut plates on. So what I'm going to do is use a Cleco and put through the hole, the rivet hole, and put that nut plate on. You got one rivet in each one of those nut plates. There's one. This one's not quite as tough because the cleco's not in the way, but you still have the nut there in the cage for it. You got to really be careful with on these number 4s. So that was simple enough. I've got all the number 4 nut plates riveted in. And I've got all the number 8s clecoed in with one rivet in each one of them, ready to start setting the rivets. And when I get it done, then I'll go ahead and go over all of these with some paint again and paint them and let that dry. Now the only ones they don't have clecos in are these single leg or wing, whatever they're called, nut plates, and I couldn't get a cleco in there and then put and set the rivet at the same time. I couldn't get on the cleco covered up. No matter which hole it was in, the cleco covered up one of the other holes, so I couldn't set the rivet in it. So I clecoed these in on the outside hole and then put a screw in the threaded portion of it and tightened it up to hold it up, and I was able to put a rivet in there, and I figured out what happened there, why I tried to use the drill guide for these nut plates. For these number 8s, I used that number 6 drill guide, and it didn't work. And I checked it before, and I could swear that it worked. Well, I got to looking in my bin, my parts bin, and I found out that I had 2 different sizes of number 8 nut plates. So this is the size that I used. It's a miniature, I guess, and then this is the other size, the regular size of number 8 nut plate. And I just found it after I got everything all set up to do, and realized what was going on. But anyway, this regular size nut plate will work in that one drill jig that I have. Anyway, now we'll go ahead and squeeze these rivets. Now this one's going to be easy peasy. Get a little bit of a ridge on there. Better. Go ahead and do the rest of them. These are a lot nicer because they're full-size nut plates, and you still have to worry about bending the cage on those, but you've got a lot more room in there. Now that one's in a tight spot, but it went better than I thought because there's enough room for that rivet set to sit on the accompanying rivet. It actually sets both of them at the same time. I can close it up, push it up against that barrel for that nut, and squeeze it without damaging the nut. There, that worked pretty good. Yeah, we've got all the nut plates put in here on both the left and right side. Now the right side I'd put the number 4s in on the side the other day, but I didn't put the number 8s in until I pulled that floorboard out. So I got those all in. Got the single wing in there, went in just fine. Both sides. The only ones that I don't have riveted in yet are these ones that go in the bottom of this baggage compartment door frame, and I can't get the squeezer in there, so I'm going to have to do those with the air gun, and I just haven't got around to doing that yet.